Hey everyone, Mark here from the Trader's Quest, where we're on a pursuit for consistency, discipline, and ultimately profits. So today's recap episode is a little delayed. You notice that if you've been watching at all, last week I didn't do a single upload, and I'll explain a little bit about that today. I had a rough day on Monday and then on Tuesday, and ultimately it resulted in me having to, the game Shoots and Ladders. I kind of hit that chute and went all the way back down to the bottom, and I'm basically starting this journey again. And I think on every journey there is that restart. You realize you started going down the wrong path, and you're like, uh-oh, I'm going in the wrong direction. So as a recap from before that or from that last video, I had made some rule adjustments. I had made some bad trades. I was essentially swing trading a couple of trades that I shouldn't be, and ultimately I was setting a rule where I was like, all right, I'm going to trade three times. And actually, was even starting to modify that. I was like, well, why do it three times? Why just wait till my first red? And so I was really saying, first red, I was going to be out, and with this goal of being like, all right, I can see that being helping me stay consistent. Again, if I have a red, I'm done for the day. And I think part of the thing for me was not wanting to be done. I've got a lot of, again, I'm on that quest for profitability. I'm not profitable yet in my trading. In fact, I'm down probably about $35,000 since I started this 2 years ago. And you know what? I know we all got to pay our dues, and that is part of that process. But there's a piece of me that won't let that go, and I think that's part of the discipline that I need to continue to focus on and learn. And so for me, I was on this journey of like, all right, cool, like let's see if I can get this back. And ultimately, last week I tilted a little bit, and so I figure I'll give you a quick recap of a few days last week, and then tell you where that took me for this week and how I want to continue to pursue this. So, if you look at my screen, you'll see a lot of green days, and actually the last 10 days have been, or last in this 9 trading days. Oh wait, 6 trading days have been green, and it started here on Monday the 16th. So let me pop this open. I had 9 trades this day, so this is where I says, well, if I have 3 red trades, or if I have 1 red trade, I'll be done. But if I don't, let's just keep going. And I came out with nearly $200. Problem is, I made some trades, didn't make a lot, and I did open up 2 other trades that I'm still holding now. So now I was coming in. If you remember, I had 3 that I was holding, and now I went 4, 5. Uh-oh. CYCU is a dumb one. This one is one where I got in. Again, I couldn't take the loss. Averaged down. I think I'm in at 7,000 shares on this one. Averaged in at, what was that, 125 or something to that effect. It's currently sitting right around, or no, 150, and this one is currently sitting at around 120. So looking at everything, I still have hope that it will get a spike to go back up, and I've decided I'm just going to hold this. You know what? It's going to lock up the capital and I can't use that capital until it's unlocked. So that's part of it. Same with Wilds. Wilds was that was a really bad one. That was a gamble fully, where I saw it moving a little bit. It had a recent reverse split. I said, I'll throw 500 shares on that. Immediately drops down. I said, well, I'm not going to sell it just yet. And you know what? Right now, I could get rid of that, and I would have, what is that? $700 back of capital. But you know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to let it sit there. I put my sell there at pretty much my entry. I says, you know what? When it eventually gets back up, I'll sell it. At this point, I'll just hold it. So Monday, I was in a bad psychological spot. Now, what I should have done on Tuesday is not trade, because I'm already in a deep psychological issue spot. Well, Tuesday made about $97. I had 2 trades. 2 trades. And this is when it really went wrong. I took both trades on PMAX, Chinese stock. Had done a reverse split back in October, had dropped down it was coming up towards, like, I think I traded it around 70 cents to about 80 cents. I made about $100. Yay. It started going up to 90 cents. I was trading it for the break of the dollar. It drops. I should have just left at that point, because I still would have been green for the day. even just a little green, but I didn't. I got stubborn and I started I started averaging down and averaging down, and eventually I averaged down about 13,000 shares on this thing, and I've averaged down to about 62 cents. It's currently trading at 37 cents right now. So I'm not far away, but when you're dealing with sub $1, it does feel like a long ways away. And again, it's one I'm just going to hold at this point. I'm relying on our faithful pump and dumps to hopefully get me out of this. I'm hoping for at least right now for PMAX, they're in a situation where again they did a reverse split back in October because they had fallen out of NASDAQ compliance. If you're aware, in January, there was a compliance issue rule change where basically says if you do another reverse split within 1 year of another one, it's issues an automatic delisting. So no company wants that. Yes, you can fight that. You can have those appeals, but there's no grace period anymore after that. So right now they are now sub $1 for the last 10 trading days. They got about 20 trading days left to be able to try to close above $1. And if they can do that, it resets that clock for them, of course, because they've already did their grace period and from the last time this happened. So I'm banking on them making a strategic move to try to get themselves back up over $1 for 1 day at least. And so if they can do that, it'll allow me to close that out. But it was a terrible trade. Again, I should never have done that. And so for me, Monday and Tuesday sent me into a spot where now I'm holding 6 trades. And it caused me to sit back and reflect, what the hell am I doing? Am I even doing this the right way? Apparently I'm not. But then also sit back and actually figure out what my go forward plan should be. And basically what I decided to do, and I'd done this back in December, January, and it worked actually really well, is I'm going back into like a trader rehab. I'm a big fan of Ross Cameron and what he does with his momentum trading. And one of the things when he has really bad cycles, he goes into his trader rehab. And the version I've started doing for this is I get 1 trade a day. And I have to do, and really this will help drive consistency too. So 1 trade a day, that 1 trade, red or green, I'm done. I should shut it down and be done. I basically go in and I call, once I do that, I'm good. I do that for 10 days. At the end of 10 days, I will then increase that from what I'm currently trading as 1,000 shares. The goal is to trade it to either 1,500 or 2,000 shares. My ultimate goal here is that, again, trade less, teach me to trade less. If I can trade 1 or 2 times a day and I'm trading in 5,000 share chunks and I have 2 winners, that's likely a minimum of about $1,000 a day, which is that is livable wage right there. I mean, $500 is livable wage for me. And so that's really what I'm trying to get to. So now I'm going to go back I'm in this trader rehab. I'm going to go allow myself 1 trade a day. The caveat here is as I have these 6 positions that I have that are currently open, if things happen that cause them to close out, I'm going to use that to give me the opportunity to essentially increase how many times I trade. For example, today, you'll find in a second, I kind of broke my rule. I traded twice. I was watching one and it was just, it was too good to pass up. And it worked because based off of the technicals and what was happening on the level 2, if it didn't work, I would have been incredibly surprised. And I'll show you that in a second. But basically for me, I can only do 1 trade. But let's say PMAX decides to close itself out today. Surges, gets it closed out. Yay. Effective tomorrow, I can trade twice. I can do 2 trades. And that's the kind of thing. Because I also realize that 1 trade a day forever is good, but it's also, in at least my strategy, does restrict me some. Because, for example, one of the stocks I traded today, I 100% could have traded 2 or 3 times and seen a profit from, but I didn't do it because I was only doing the 1 trade. And so for me, that's what's going to do it. But I'm not allowed to do that until I start unlocking that extra capital. So, and part of it's just capital too. If I would have traded a stock that was at $4 or something today, I wouldn't have been able to trade the second stock I did because I've got maybe about $5,000-6,000 in capital that's available to trade. The rest is locked up right now. So as that unlocks, I'll be able to go in and then actually trade more than once. But again, I've got to watch that. Got to fall into that trap. So yeah. So basically, that's where I've reset myself to one trade a day for the next 10 days. Or really, I'm at this point. I finished day 4, I believe it is. Yeah, day 4, and so after what is that next Tuesday? So basically, the beginning of April, I can go and up if I'm still green 60% of the time and I'm positive. So that's the way I look at it. If I'm 6 out of 10 days, I'm green and I'm net positive. So I'm making more, I'm actually making money. At that point, I can go ahead and say, all right, let's go ahead and up my share. So we'll see. Just as a quick review here of the other day. So that was Tuesday. Had to take a breather. Wednesday, I came in, one trade, traded it on AIM. And actually here, let's just go in here and I'm going to pick up. So in the last, since last Monday, I've made about $1,000, which is pretty nice. I mean, again, at about $1,000 in 6 days, I'm happy with. But again, my trading is not the best. So I'm going to pop up. Let's pop up AIM. So this was Wednesday's trade. So Wednesday's trade, super happy with this one as it went in. What was really good about this one is I got it for this break of the whole dollar, and I was in about 96 cents. It got up to about 109, 106, and I decided, and this is what I need to do more of, is I decided to sell half. And I was like, okay, I will sell half because there seems to be some good momentum. I've done this time and time again where I sell it all and then it only continues to surge. So I sold half and then I let it kind of continue to climb. And it climbed. It was struggling right about 118. It did make them push another 10 cents higher, but about 118, I was like, all right, I'm already double what my target is. Let's get out of this thing. And so I was able to, on that first day out, make 1.65 R. Again, I'm risking $100 to hopefully make $100+ and so I was very happy with that one. So that was Wednesday's trade. Thursday's trade, this was a pure 100. This is a 1R win. It was on SER. I was okay with this trade. Again, this is one of those where I should have held a little. Like, again, I took my profit target is 1R. I took that profit target. So I am happy with that. If I would have held a little longer, I might have made a little bit more. I also, knowing that I was in at about $1.80, it could have gone up there and it would have pulled back. And I'd been like, oh no. And it came down to $1.77, which is only 3 cents lower. But then it goes to rally back to 204. And so for me, that would have given me the opportunity to actually sorry, I was getting a phone call, to be able to again net another, make it a 2, maybe 3R day. But at the same time, I get that. I kind of got it at the high. It was sitting at there. I was hoping for a push up to 2, kind of come back. It did ultimately do that. The stock ultimately, actually did fairly well that day, although going up to about 238. But it was I made my 1R. I should be happy with that. But it's one of those opportunities to maybe sell half and then do something to that effect. And then Friday had a really good trade. I was really happy with this one. This trade was on CODX. CODX was one of the big stocks trading on that day. And I love the pattern on CODX. You can see it this day. Actually, today's stock had the similar one where it kind of goes up, kind of pulls away, and then kind of pulls back. This one pulled right back below VWAP and then surged back up, bringing it a little bit higher, pulled back, bounced off VWAP, and come pulled back, pulled off the, my 20 EMA, kind of come back, and then ultimately, so it made it up to about $4 here. I was in it at about 335. So again, these are the patterns that I do like to trade, where I can get it to bounce, break a level, and then shoot up. And this day I saw a really good win. I got in as it was coming up. Again, initial news, I decided to get in on this one. You can't see it on this chart because it's on 1 minute, but I was on a 15-second and took it on a 15-second pullback. I got it. It came up. I sold. I believe my issue on this one too, I was because of all my open positions, I actually didn't see what my entry price was, and so I was kind of blind on that case because I couldn't see it in my list. It was below the fold, and so I've actually fixed some of my trading setup since then. But I was able to still get out with again a great profit, $200 single trade, called it a day. I was happy with that. So last week at the end, it finished up fairly well. So let's talk about this week. Today, overall great day. My first trade of the day was right after the 7 a.m. and it was on UGRO. Now UGRO has had a great day. This is one of those you can see that similar pattern here: the pullback, the shoot up, kind of come back down below VWAP, break back through, bounce off VWAP, come up, bounce off that. So there's almost that similar kind of pattern here. You can see that we just saw where it kind of is using below VWAP, bounces off VWAP, bounces off 20 EMA, ultimately then stops, comes back. This one actually kind of came back out during the open too. But for me, this was a great trade, but it was also an opportunity for me to have done what I did last Wednesday, where I basically sold half and held, because this would have been a great opportunity for that. This is one where it kind of came up, breaking news, searches up. As it comes down, it plays off of VWAP here. It comes up. 176 was where it was hanging around for a moment here, and once it made it past VWAP, really in this case, it was like candle came up, VWAP happened. I went ahead and got in after that first green candle, and I ended up selling within that same green candle for, in this case, 1.36R, which is great. That was my goal, right? It then continued to surge all the way up to 132. So I left about 30, 40 cents right on the table there. And so again, coulda, woulda, shoulda. This is just a great opportunity to say sell half, move my stop loss then to entry. And then that way I still come away, even if this thing didn't do it and it started coming down, I could have just sold and then still would have been green. But it is what it is. I think that's one of the big things I've got to learn. This is also one of those where I hope I can start closing out some of these positions, because as I start closing these positions out, this was another opportunity here where it's like, hey, it comes up, the break of VWAP there. That would have been a great one, right? About 315, maybe get in. It made it all the way up to 360. Like, that's a great move right there without really a deep pullback. Because, it came back from 40 to like 36. But even there, if I got in there, it would have been a great trade. So that's one of the opportunities I have, again, is to sell, is to get rid of those extra positions so I can trade more than once. And we'll see. Now, like I said, I did break my rule today. I traded one more time, and I've got a little bit of a justification for it. So I made $60 on GMEX. So GMEX started coming up this morning. It came out, and actually I hadn't looked at this yet. It came all the way up to about $1.46, which is pretty good, because it was down at like 70 some cents today. So for me, looking at this one, I came in as it broke again through VWAP. Again, similar pattern. You can see that here. This one kind of broke VWAP a little bit, and then it came up and then bounced off that, but then it kind of choked there at the end. So here, right about 117, I was watching this stock because I'd watched it surge here. I watched it kind of pull back down to about 106. I saw it come back up. It was sitting here, and there was some huge orders on the bid. And so in this case, or actually, no, it was the ask. It was some huge orders on the ask. So 150,000 shares at, I think it was 117. And so wanting 117 on it. And so I was like, oh, that's a wall, even for a small stock like this, that's got a smaller float, it was still sitting pretty high. But then as I'm watching it, I see that 150 go from 150 to 120 to 100 to 80 to 60 to 40 to 20 to 10. And I decided to punch it at that point, because I was like, all right, someone is eating this up. And all of a sudden that wall is disappearing really fast. And so I went ahead, I ate it up, or I let it, I got in right as it ate it up. And I just took that push right here from 117 to about 123. So $60 on it. That was great. I was happy with it. Sounds like it looks like if I would have kept it a little bit longer, I could have come up to about 127, seen a full 1 hour return, but I was okay with this. I shouldn't have done this trade anyway, but you know what? It is what it is. It just was, like I said, it was seeing those orders go through and that ask price being just eaten away. That kind of blew my mind. So I was like, all right, this is going to move up at some level, even just a couple cents. So yeah, so it's been a heck of a week, folks. Apologies for not getting this out there, getting out there sooner. Last week I had to kind of take a break because again, I got back on the path again, and now I'm resetting. So the trader's quest is never ending in this case, and sometimes you have to go backwards and get on to a new trail. And so my new trail again is my one trade a day. Hopefully tomorrow I'll share with you one trade, and that will be my goal, unless I close out a position, and then maybe that will be two. So we'll see. But I wish you all the best of luck as you're out there on your own journey, looking for what's available out there. I think we're starting to see a little bit of volatility out there, which is helping, and I hope that helps all of us as we're again on that journey for consistency, discipline, and ultimately profitability. So, with that said, folks, good luck trading out there. We will see you back here tomorrow.